So I just changed the strings on my beautiful Mulecaster guitar, and not only did I put flat wounds on it, I like flat wounds when I'm playing slide stuff just because it's got this really nice smooth feel to it, but I also kind of changed the gauges up a little bit. So this did come with a set of 11 gauge strings, but then I had this set of Tomastic Infeld jazz swing strings, which are flat wounds, but they have some weird gauges. They're 11, 15 on the second string, 19, 25, 35, 47. So it's got some weird, I guess, lighter gauges compared to our normal 11 set. But I also swapped out the high E string from 11 to a 12 because I wanted something heavier, and there's a reason for that. So lately I've been experimenting with a new tuning. Well, it's new to me, but it's kind of interesting. I didn't find much on the internet about it, so I'm not sure if a lot of people know about this tuning or are using this tuning, but it's only a small change from standard tuning. So from low to high, the strings go E, A, D, G, B, and then the high E string I tuned down a whole step to D. So basically it's just standard tuning, but I'm dropping down the high E down to a D. So it's kind of like a reversed drop D, if you will. And because I detuned the high string, I wanted a heavier gauge string, so that's why I put a 12 on there. Okay, so what's the deal with this tuning? Well, one of my favorite slide guitar tunings is Open G. And that tuning is from low to high, I think it'd be a D, G, and then you've got the D, G, B from standard tuning, and then a D on top. So this tuning that I have, this hybrid standard kind of open G tuning, I'm kind of taking the top four strings of an open G tuning, which, if you think about it, shares the same middle three strings as standard tuning. Which is probably why I like it so much, is because I'm familiar with standard tuning, so moving to G tuning for me is a little bit easier to find out where all the notes are. And for me, the magic of open G tuning is in the top three strings where you have this triad. You know, this major triad, which, you know, so I really like those intervals being on top. So if I could pair that open G tuning with standard tuning, I feel like I can get around the fretboard a little bit easier. And it's pretty evident because, you know, these five strings are basically standard tuning. So I can play everything I know. But if I want to do some really cool slide stuff, you know, I can. So my knowledge of, you know, E standard tuning and my knowledge of open G tuning have kind of melded together as one unit, and it was pretty easy to get around. And the cool thing with having this open D on top, you know, some of your chords have a different character to them now. So if I was to play just kind of like a standard E minor 7 bar chord and play that high first string, it's kind of got this minor 11 tonality automatic, which that would be a hard voicing to play in standard tuning because that top note would be way down here, and that'd be impossible to play, right? And this tuning works great if you're playing something like in D. And sometimes the way I think about it is basically it's standard tuning, and once I get to the first string, everything is moved up a whole step. And sometimes you have these happy accidents where you're only one fret away from the right note, but... And chords sound really cool too, so if I was to play just an open G chord, it's automatically a G dominant 7 chord. So a C campfire chord, C open chord, is like this C add 9 already. If I play an A chord, that's a cool sus chord. E, that's a E dominant 7 chord. So for me, this is like the perfect tuning that I can play fretted stuff as well as slide notes. And in basically any key with different changes. And I think the thing is, it's different enough that I'm discovering cool new chord voicings, cool new patterns, and it becomes a little bit inspiring to play in a different tuning. And that's kind of the whole point of this video is, you know, a lot of times we think that we have to stick with, you know, set tunings, whether it's, you know, an E standard tuning or an open tuning like open E or open G. But the fact of the matter is, there's no rules. You can basically tune your guitar to whatever you want to tune to and discover new, fresh ideas, chord voicings, patterns. And that's kind of the beauty of the guitar, that you can't really get that with other instruments, whether, you know, piano or horns or drums. For example, one of my colleagues who is an amazing fusion legato guitarist as well as YouTuber, Tom Quayle. Look out, Nashville. He tunes his guitar with the top two strings up a half step. So the second string goes from B to C and the first string goes from E to F. So all of his strings are perfect fourths all across. And he plays some of the most amazing stuff that I've ever seen. There's a lot of artists that tune their guitars a certain way just so they can hit certain chords with open strings. For instance, Coldplay tuning, where they drop the E string down to a E flat or a D sharp so they can play songs in the key of B. So my point is, don't let guitar tunings hold you back. There's no strict hard and fast rule about tuning your guitar. In fact, playing around with different tunings and coming up with your own tunings can be a really good way to break out of ruts, come up with fresh new ideas, and basically get inspired. And by the way, if anyone knows the actual name for this hybrid tuning, this E standard with the drop D on top, let me know down in the comments, because I'd love to know if there's an actual name for this tuning. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like button. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, gear demos or guitar lessons, make sure you click the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'm RJ Ronquillo, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye.